Hey guys, welcome to another session of RBTL, or Reading Between the Lines. This is going to be a kind of a special patch note. Again, I don't cover all the patch notes anymore just because I think that some of the information is not enough for me to talk about. This one's pretty hype, of course. We have episode 4 just around the corner, and I think, honestly, it's just one maintenance away, so it depends on when you're watching this. It could already be here. But if you are watching this before the maintenance, I am very, very excited that we just had the 3rd anniversary celebration on the global stream on the Korea side as well. Big thank yous to Epic 7 and Smilegate. Honestly, like, we give them a bad rap on the meta, on the balance patches and stuff like that, but we still love the game. We still love the game, and it seems that they are still hearing us, and some of that commentary is always like threaded throughout the buffs or the new heroes release or something like that. Like, they hear us that the Violet and Red meta is really bad. They see it, and so they're introducing stuff. So anyways, regardless, first things first I want to cover is that there's the surprise gift event. So by the time, I guess, after maintenance, as you can see here, we will have access to a 5-star hero ticket and a 5-star artifact summon ticket. So this is very, very good. I mean, it's closing off episode 3 very well with like the selective summon 2.0 with all those 5 stars and stuff like that, and then from the end of episode 3 all the way to this the celebration for episode 4, the starting of episode 4, we're getting like stuff like non-stop, right? We got the 70 summons like ongoing right now, the free 70 summons, albeit I think the rough part for a lot of people was the surprise collab, and then we have that new hero, which I'll deem as MLK-ron. It's apparently not MLK-ron anymore, but I forgot what his name is. It starts with a K. You guys will know it. That has a preview video, which Epic 7 doesn't really do that usually. It's showing the S3, and that looks like a very exciting S3. A couple of the English voiceovers in that video, and I think we're getting more information in a couple weeks, so before the end of November. So a lot of stuff to be hyped for. There's a new Advent side story coming, and as I predicted, that they're going to go with different elemental bosses. It's not really a new boss, they're not really creating anything new in terms of a new design, but it is new in terms of it's a fire elemental boss. It's not previewed in this patch note, but I think we're gonna get that when the Advent side story drops. But it's it was previewed in the live stream. So fire elemental one, which means that we'll probably have access to the fire friendship gift item thingy, and then potentially the different elemental summon. So last time we got light elemental summon with the Elysia of the Ice. This time it could be dark, I don't know. And then of course the good drop rates on the modification gems and stuff like that. So a lot to look forward to. I love the Advent side story. I think it's a good event that they run once in a couple months. So mainly this patch note is going to be talking about the episode 4, what we can expect from it. There is this cool episode 4 opening video. For the sake of my video and whatnot, I probably won't be playing it, but of course giving us that kind of like we saw in episode 3, I think we saw in episode 2 as well, this kind of preview to this, to what we can expect, some of the characters. So here is that a scene where Ran is there, Roz is there, and then the guy who I call MLK-ron, but I forgot what his name is, again starts with a K or something. They're fighting and stuff like that, and then the sword drops, and then we see the main protagonist in episode 4, which I'm glad that they're not really getting rid of Mercedes, Arky, and Roz, because if you're reading the story, you've grown to love them, but rather she's just accompanying them on the new journey, which is kind of cool. So for chapter 1 to be released, coming in, and for 10 stages. 10 stages, chapter 4. I do like some of the new things that they are trying to do. It is episode 4, so it is about time that they try something new, and it's not expected. I didn't really need them to try something new, but they have decided to do that, so that's kind of cool. Mainly with the new character Adin, Adin, I think. Actually, I think it's Adin in terms of like the pronunciation of how I heard it phonically in Korean. So Adin is the new protagonist. But as they told us in a couple months ago in a preview video that she's able to swap elements, right? And we're just like, whoa, what is that? Like, it's like that's kind of like a new thing. So before we get to the, I mean, it has the whole preview thing, but because she's a 3-star and she's free, you will obtain her as soon as you pretty much start episode 4. So I'm not gonna do like a separate, initial thoughts video on her. I don't think that's necessary. But I will kind of talk about her here. Just very quick, go through the skills. We got our S1 there, ankle cut, being Smilegate's favorite mechanic in the game, combat readiness boost. But it's solid, it's fine. I mean, it's like A-Raw's, at least right now. It's like A-Raw's S1, has a self-combat readiness boost. S2 attacks all enemies with a Blade Gust and 80% chance to make them unbuffable for 2 turns. So 80% chance to grant the unbuffable debuff. And the when there are 3 or fewer enemies, the damage dealt is increased. You probably, I mean, based on her description on the S3, you probably want to build her with some kind of damage. Oh, actually, I didn't mention. Yeah, she's a Leo Thief, right? So Leo Thief is Arbiter, Vildred, that kind of star sign. So high stats, except that she's a 3-star. So you have to keep that in mind. I think, hold on. You can see the preview of her base stats here in their video. I'll just pull that up here. Yeah, there you go. So I mean, like when you're looking at Arbiter, Vildred and stuff like that, Leo Thieves at a 5-star, you're looking at like 1200, almost 1300 attack, right? So it is quite a big difference. The health is almost 5000, I think, on them, or even is 5000. Defense is solid over 500, and then the speed, I think, is 114, if I remember correctly. So like obviously being a 3-star, she'll suffer with that. But then of course, we have in this patch note, we'll see that you basically work alongside her. I feel that this is what they're trying to do, that you'll specialty change her on the way, you'll awaken her on the way, you'll change her elements on the way. So we have this kind of this new system where I think it's in a way better than what they did. Like, I don't think they were prepared to make Raws like a specialty change. When we saw Vagabond Raws in the epilogue, or the unrecorded history portion of the chapter 1, which actually I am curious if they're ever going to continue that unrecorded history, or is that going to be like a one-off, just chapter 1 and then that's it. I was hoping for like a hell mode or hard mode for episode 2, episode 3 and stuff like that, and with subsequent rewards, of course. It doesn't seem like they're going that direction, so you can definitely see some inconsistencies, but it's understandable. First year game, when it comes out, you have different ideas, and then later on the game will take on a new form, right? So in this case, I think that they never really thought about, at least from year 1, never really thought about like A-Raw's being like a specialty change, maybe, and instead of like like Raw's being like a 3-star, kind of not that used, everybody's gonna farm the story with everyone else. And then at the very end, giving us SC Raws or Adventurer Raws, then like he all of a sudden became good, and then everybody started using him. So I think what they're trying to do is that they want you to immerse in the story, right? They Epic 7 is very proud of the stories that they do, the lore. It's very emphasized when they do like trivia and stuff like that on kind of like social events and stuff. So they want you to be really immersed in the story, but they also want you to like the character by using her. So I think this method, if they're gonna change protagonists or secondary protagonists over the course of the years, I think they're definitely gonna go with more structures like this. It may not be identical, but they're definitely going to go with this because like there's no harm. This is exactly what they want anyway. So instead of getting like a specialty change dropped at the very end, and then to make you care about the character at the very end, they want you to care about them and kind of nurture them along the way. Obviously, we have no access to some of the stuff that will be, like unlock awakening and skill tree and stuff like that. So like we can probably see a big power boost in Adin in chapter 4 onwards, right? Like right now she may look like, oh, just a thief, and then yeah, she has defense break attack buff, you know, unbuffable AoE, like looks like okay, she's okay. Like you probably won't use her seriously, but you could use her, I suppose, especially if you're a new player. But at chapter 4 onwards, we'll have to see like what does that look like, how does she work there, right? Because like she could honestly become very, very powerful here from chapter 4 on, like as good or maybe as good as like SC Raw, so usable in PvP, question mark, I don't know, I'm not quite sure, but I'm looking forward to it. So like it's more of like, I think, more investment in not just the story, but in what each chapter will unlock for you, right? Outside of just the Sky Stone and the Mola Goro for completing all the 3-star missions and stuff like that. So I like this system. I definitely think that it's a bit ambitious, but not too crazy, that it probably most likely won't fail. I think the reception will probably be good, or at least neutral. But by chapter 6 you unlock the fire element alteration, by chapter 8 you get the ice elemental alteration, and then by chapter 10 a light elemental alteration. What does that look like? We don't know yet, and I don't think that they really know that exactly, or at least they don't want to let us know. So here we have this alteration for Adin. She becomes capable of altering her element. The detailed information of the elemental alteration, such as like the steps to conduct it, then the cost, will be presented in the later notice. So because when it comes to RGB, not for real, like, and instead of like the you know, oh, ice meta and stuff like that, like the meme, there isn't really an advantage to being whether ice, fire, or earth, but it would make more sense that it costs something, or maybe you unlocked it and it's free. We'll have to see, right? It's a later notice, we don't know. That she can swap elements on the fly, right? Not on the fly per se, but like before you enter into a battle. So for example, like if you go into World Arena and you use her, let's say if she's usable in World Arena in the future, perhaps you do the swap beforehand. So like if you need a single target, I don't know, damage dealer with defense break attack buff, but that's a fire elemental, you can swap it to fire before you go in. If you need it as a light elemental, you can swap it. It's a bit of speculation right now, so I won't go down into that because we don't know, but it is interesting to see this kind of system working, especially in a free hero. I think that with a free hero, there's going to be less controversy, and because everybody has access to it, like all the elements, there can't be any like, you know, people saying that, oh, that's unfair, I lost this fight because she's a fire elemental where I thought she would be a green elemental or something. Like once everybody has her, once everybody has access to her, it's free range. So I like this idea. I think it's very interesting game design. Secret books to memory imprint her. I think you do achieve this. Yeah, so you do get the memory imprints over time, but the imprints are not that crazy in my opinion. I mean, it's always like 14% of her base attack there, the flat attack, if we're talking about the imprint concentration. It's not too crazy, but I guess after her, I think the biggest thing for me is the awakening the skill tree part. So if the skill tree is like any skill tree in specialty change, it could have a drastic effect of how she'll play. So I like that idea. Complete all the missions, and then you'll get these. Should be added to the hero journal, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think that's all. A spirit essence. It's like a catalyst, but it's a skill enhancer for Adin. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for her. Again, looking forward to the episode 4, as the new heroes are dropping and stuff like that. We're just hoping that the dude that, again, I said MLK-ron, but I'm putting that in air quotes now, is not a limited hero, or he's not that good, because we're all pretty strapped on bookmarks, at least most of us. So Guild War Conviction Season, some new things added, but not exactly like game changing, but I suppose less annoying. So Conviction Season for Guild War is coming up. We have a new artifact, Bastion of Hope. I mean, this artifact honestly looking really, really good. I think now that I think about it, all of the Guild War artifacts are really, really good, right? We had Proof of Valor return once. I think there was like a hiccup in production where they didn't know what to release, so they returned Proof of Valor. At the moment, on the horizon, it doesn't look like they're going to be returning any Guild War artifacts anytime soon, as they keep creating new Guild War artifacts, and all of them seem to be good. I think Victorious Flag is probably the weakest out of all the ones I can think of right now. I think the Barrier one, I forgot what it's called, but the Barrier one is very, very solid. A lot of people use it in World Arena, mainly to resist F10E. But a lot of people do use it, or get the CR boost before, you know, like an opening debuffer. Let's see. Yeah, Victorious Flag is probably the only one that had, like, it's honestly good on paper, but it's very, very designed for Expo, or any PvE content that requires the exact opposite element that you're engaging. I think that's where it falls off. But the Proof of Valor, and I'm really annoyed at myself that at that time when Proof of Valor returned, I maxed one copy of Proof of Valor, but I kept one other, and the other copies I didn't max limit break the second copy of Proof of Valor. I sold them for powder. Yes, you can sell them for powder. I sold them for powder because I wanted 5-star artifacts, which I deemed at that time to be more valuable. But now that I think about it, Proof of Valor, very good, especially have multiple copies, especially if you have a max limit broken for places like World Arena. So unfortunately, I made that mistake. I don't know if they're going to be returning any other Guild War artifacts. So Symbol of Unity, you know, your second copy, I don't know, man, it might not be coming. But the Bastion of Hope increases effect resistance of all allies by 20%, and the caster's effect resistance by additional 50%. This is a nutty artifact, if anything, in my opinion. So the caster's resistance decreases, the caster's effect resistance decreases by 3% with each attack suffered, down to 35%. So this is still stronger than Shamadra Staff. It does not, of course, gain like the healing impact of Shamadra Staff applied to AoE. So like if a healer has Shamadra Staff, you know, a Ravi will heal more, will benefit from the artifact as well. This doesn't have that, but like, I mean, on paper here, this is like insanely good for like bringing it into Guild War offense, arena offense, and even having this on a hero in for some World Arena fights. This is gonna be like absolutely vital. This could be good for a cleanser, like an AoE cleanser that you have. So you have like a I'm just, you know, I'm spitballing, okay, so not necessarily has to be the case, but you have like a Kitty Clarissa on a Strat Gauntlet. You have another I mean, you could put this on Mei Chloe, and this would be very solid if you're gonna use Mei Chloe as like a F10E kind of like cleanser, as a Angel of Light, Angelica cleanser, that kind of stuff. But it doesn't have to be a healer. That's the thing about this artifact. It's really strong, and then increases the effect resistance of all allies by 20%. So you have the effect of Shamadra Staff, but then you also have like an insane effect, and it only reduces by 3% per time the caster. And only the caster is dropping effect resist, so everybody else has to maintains that 20%. Every time she only suffers, or the caster is suffering an attack, and it's down to 35, and still really high. So I'm not even finished getting the oh, it's called Guide to a Decision. That's the Barrier artifact. I haven't even finished buying all the guided decisions. So what I've been doing is, like, you know, I've been buying the conversion chest with the wristbands, but then when I get a surplus of it, I'll buy the artifact on the same week that the conversion chests are available. So I basically never miss a conversion chest, but the only one I have a surplus, so I buy the artifact. I might have to speed up my artifact purchasing and skip those random boxes with the armbands. I'm not quite sure though. But anyways, very good artifact, and there's no doubt about that one. Guild War Ambition Season. So the Guild War Ambition Season frames actually do look pretty decent. I wouldn't say like they look good compared to the player frames, but given what we have in terms of the guild emblems, and in fact, and Smilegate, if Smilegate or any of the devs catch wind of this video, you guys should really look into expanding that. I mean, those are really easy graphics that you can expand. It will give more variety for guilds. We're talking about the icons, right? They're like, we have like a rose, we have like a vampire fang thing. What else do we have? Some kind of, is it like a trident or a harp or something like that? There has been glitches in the past that we've seen a skull, like a profile view, which means like a side view of a skull, somehow in the game. It's glitched in the game. Like, you actually see that emblem. If you guys have run into that glitch before, you guys know what I'm talking about. But somehow it's not in the game, so I'm not quite sure. Like, what are they trying to hold away? Like, I think that more emblems or icons that the guilds have access to, the more they could play around with the frames, which gives the frames more value as well, which then therefore gives the incentive for guilds to push harder. But in my opinion, these frames are not that bad. These frames are not that bad. All three are decent. I don't know how those red ribbons work with the icon, but I'm assuming it will look okay. I do think that this is pretty boastful. Not individual players, which will make your guild emblem look incredible. Okay, actually they call it guild emblem. Okay, so yeah, instead of icon or whatever, yeah, the emblem, whatever, they should expand it. They should definitely expand it. It's not too much work. Like, I can do this for free. Smilegate. I could do that for free, like literally, like on the stream I could just draw stuff. So anyways, let's see here. Oh yeah, so also Hall of Fame will be open. I think we've already had that, right? I'm not quite sure, but it seems like it's a new thing. I'm not quite sure. No, I mean it doesn't. Yeah, we already had it. Let's see here, season improvements. Okay, so some of the stuff that I saw, this ranking order awards unchanged, but this is there's one thing I want. This one. The number of the max rematch between a guild within a season will be increased from 2 to 4. Players will not be battling the same guild in the next 4 wars after having a war with them. So that is a pretty big one. I mean, that has been lingering for what, at least 2 full Guild Wars seasons now. And Smilegate finally addressed it. It would have been pretty easy in my opinion, the algorithm. But basically, like, I mean, the guild I'm in, Iggy, we've experienced this all, like, usually the top 10 guild would experience this. Like, they would fight like one guild and then, like, you know, either win or loss, they'll fight someone else, and then because of that competitive guild from week 1 like climbed up, or if they lost or whatever, anyways, you're matched up again, and then you do this like pretty much every 2 wars. Oh, yawn. That was super boring. That wasn't even enough time for people to try out new like new defenses or anything like that. So like you would literally be running into the same guild, fighting the exact same defense you did. You could probably even see your history now that they have the history in there. See your history and see what you did to beat a certain team, assuming that they didn't change their defensive artifacts or speed tuning or something like that. So we're gonna talk about the epic pass, and I'm gonna say this in the recording here, and I think I have said this before, but I'm gonna reiterate this again. I do often get that question on my live streams, like, is it worth to get the epic pass? Or we have this discussion, right? And I know that people come watch me and they may not speak up so much. I mean, some of you guys have, if you guys watch my YouTube, but you're on my streams, you've justified the reasoning for you to get the epic pass. And look, I think it's fine, right? I used to buy the epic pass. I used to buy all the epic passes, and I used to buy the skins. I think it was the Alina one. So the Christmas Alina one was my last one. I got the skin, and I just decided it's not worth it. I mean, I don't even use Alina, by the way, but it wasn't worth it for me, and I was really disappointed at the Tamarine homeless skin. I call her the pauper skin. I was really upset at that one, and I reverted the Tamarine back to her original skin. Now, I myself, I'm not a big fan of this villager skin. I think that the puffy fur shoulders things look really weird on his sprite. I'm not a big fan of it. I think he gets some new voice lines too, which is kind of cool, I guess. But let's say you're not buying the skin, right? So buying the skin itself is forking up 900 Skystone. I don't know where you're at with your Skystones, but in the last 2-3 weeks when we had the slime collab, especially was kind of like a surprise one, I needed all my Skystones for summons. So I really like, as I'm playing the game, as I'm seeing how these like heroes are turning out and stuff like that, I just can't see myself buying, especially the skin portion. Now, if we're talking about the premium pass for 900 Skystone, what you're really getting out of it, at least to me, is Molar Gora and then you got your gold transmit stone, and you got your gold transmit stone down here, and then maybe the frame, because the frame it's not even a skin where the skin tickets, if you have enough skin tickets, that you can actually buy the skins over time, but you won't be able to get the frame. So for some people that might be very, very important, right? But like you're realistically getting the 6 gold transmit stone, which is 1 ML summon, and you're really getting a Molagora. In terms of like the most expensive things here, if you count the skin tickets, that's different. I do not count charms. I do not count catalyst chests or catalyst selection chests, even if it's epic, as a thing that I would deem to be valuable for the Skystone. So let me put it this way: if you were to see that Hoochie event, the Hoochie shop, so we call it the Hoochie scam shop, but where he's kind of standing beside Garo in the main menu, and you saw any of these items selling for Skystone, regardless of the price, okay? It could be cheap, it could be dirt cheap, it could be like Epic Penguin for 3 Skystone. The question is like, would you buy it? That's my question, right? Like, would you buy it? I myself, I even stopped buying the Molagora from the Hoochie shop, because I feel that like if I need a lot of Mola, I would personally, that's just me, I would personally buy the Mola pack, but I haven't bought Mola packs in a long time. Molas are still time gated. You do get 3, and with side stories you get them quite frequently. Yes, and it's not enough to, like, you know, max out a hero right away, but neither does that one spending on that one Molagora. But it's me. It's me. I know that there's some people that think that it is worth the Mola when it comes to the Hoochie shop, but then you have to ask yourself this, like, are you willing to fork up 900 Skystone for really what you're getting is a ML summon and a Molagora? So again, that question I pose again is that if you saw those things, these two things in the Hoochie shop, let's say the Mola costs 400 Skystone, but I don't even know what it actually costs right now, because I haven't bought it in a long time. But let's say it is 400 Skystone for the Mola on the Hoochie shop, and then 500 Skystone for the ML summon on the in the Hoochie shop. Would you buy it, right? The thing is, I think value-wise, it is still good value. It's just that you are forking up 900 Skystone right off the bat, which I personally, I have more luck refreshing 900 Skystone to get some Covenant bookmarks and also get Mystic medals on top of that. So that's just me. That's just me. I'm going to skip this one myself, but I'm saying this not so that you guys have to follow me or whatever, but really just giving me my insights on what I deem to be valuable. Anyways, I think if you apply the logic that I just said, you know, match it up to Hoochie shop, then it will give you a better answer in terms of actual tangible, instead of feeling, right? Like if you go off emotion and go like, well, I feel that this is a good deal because I'm getting all this stuff, you just double check, right? Just make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. I think just over time, the 900 Skystone is way too valuable for me. Yeah, so I don't like the Villager's skin, in my opinion. Like I actually make it feel like he's very, he looks like he's from like a punk rock band. The sprite, not talking about the illustration portion on the right, but the sprite itself on the left, it looks strange, and the really puffy shoulders. I'm not a big fan of this. I'm not a big fan of it. Yeah, so it's an easy skip for me. The ML Celine, so my initial thoughts video came out pretty late, and if you're watching this video and you watch that video, I do have to thank you guys so much. It seems that you guys really received my initial thoughts video quite well. Like whether or not you have commented with opposing thoughts and you don't agree with me, I think that's fine. I read all your comments, guys. But I do really appreciate that. It seems that you guys come to me as a somewhat trusted source. I've seen some of the comments, and I really appreciate that. So if you haven't watched my initial thoughts video for ML Celine, it hasn't really changed. I think potentially she can be a very crazy DPS. And let me just do this. I'm just say this. In the next couple weeks, after people pull Spirit Eye Celine, you might get a lot of showcases seeing that she does insanely a lot of damage, right? The thing is though, strays can do the same. A lot of heroes can do really high damage, but like it's kind of like Luna. Luna after the buff does insanely high damage. I use her constantly in Guild War offense, arena offense, and stuff like that. But unless you're very like really smart, either you're a cleave player in World Arena or you like know how to draft really well, you're not gonna see Luna fitting into some of the, I would say, the meta fights, right? I feel that Spirit Eye Celine may have that same thing. So showcases will be able to showcase her potentially outputting insane amount of damage, which is honestly her strongest suit, right, on paper. But does that necessarily mean that she's good? I'm not sure about that, and I already said that in that video. I'm hesitant to say that she's good, but I myself, I'm gonna throw a couple bookmarks at it, or the Mystic Medals at it, because again, how Smilegate has kind of like structured the game is now you have to pull for the heroes anyways in case they get buffed, right? So that's the unfortunate thing. You can't just skip and then also be able to justify skipping it over a couple months, because in the next month or two, ML Celine could become like insanely strong, and then I'd be like, oh man, I missed out again, right? So my video was not to recommend or, you know, discourage people from polling on it, but rather literally just talking about if I think she's good, and I personally don't think that she's gonna be that good. So anyways, if you want my thoughts on that, watch that video. Shadow Knight Pillis. This is okay. There's one thing, it's either Pillis or Pillis. It's not Phyllis. Okay, there's no P there. There's no P. Actually, wait, this is spelled wrong too. It's a double I instead of double L. So I guess this name is very hard to remember. I'm gonna make a initial thoughts video on this because I think she's big enough to talk about. She also has an underlying issue, which I already explained, and it feels like Smilegate is not hiding from this fact at all anymore. But if you guys have read her skill descriptions and stuff like that, you put the pieces together, and honestly, she's built to counter Violet. Not counter as like a DPS like Milim is to counter Violet, but to counter Violet in terms of like to discourage people from using Violet. So I find that very fascinating. It's very transparent. Like Smilegate is not hiding the fact that they think that some heroes are overpowered. And we saw that with ML Cowrick versus Angel of Light Angelica and stuff like that. So it's very interesting. But anyways, I think that she's big enough to talk about in her own separate video. I did the same thing for A-Roz. I think I did it for a couple of specialty change, but I think A-Roz was the most substantial initial thoughts when I did his video. I think she might be good enough there, but anyways, I'll talk about that in a separate video. Anyways, she'll be released pretty soon, so hopefully you guys will, you know, have fun with her. But it's so transparent, man. It's so transparent. It's just like, oh, everything that she does counters everything that Violet can do. It's really funny to me. Villager banner drop rate up. He's been returning so much. Actually, like one of the most return heroes. I'm done with Vildred. I mean, I found myself like my gear, I cannot cleave at very high level, so it's useless triple S-ing the green Vildred. But if you do have RB and you have no, you probably don't have it, but if you have a couple spare bookmarks here and there and you want to triple S your RB, sure, I guess this is your opportunity. Otherwise, Vildred imprint is still very strong. 12 speed imprint AoE, that's huge. First Skystone purchase double event. This is kind of interesting. I won't be talking about that. Not a lot of people will have access to that. Skin. Oh man. Okay, so Fluffy Lady Mercedes. I think that her sprite looks kind of weird, but her art looks pretty good on the right. This is tied to the Epic 7 art book. I looked up this morning. Okay. It was announced last night in my AMs, but I looked up like early this morning. It was already sold out. I think they only had 250, and I wouldn't blame it for being sold out. The art quality and what they're offering, especially for the larger package. I think there was like a special premium package for like $70. It comes with like a soundtrack, like a couple artifacts printed on cards, a metal bookmark I believe, and then like the art book, which looks pretty big. I think the art book solo is like $50, but I wanted the big pack. I wanted the $70 pack. I wanted to support them, and I've always wanted the art book. I've always wanted the art book. It's not the art book that I wanted. I wanted the art book that was previewed when the game was released. It had like some like early concept art for like ML Crow, or at least what we thought was ML Crow. And a lot of other stuff. I wish that was in this. I don't think it's in this. I think this is an art book mainly on art that's already in the game. So it's just really high quality, high res art that is featured in the game, featured in the like those full images when you complete like a side story. If you guys know what I'm talking about. I think stuff like that more, but I still want to support them, and I think $70 or $50 for the art book, but $70 for the whole package is not a ripoff. I want to support them, and I'm an artist myself, so I would like to collect the art book, but I will wait for this. So I'm not gonna be like, you know, it's not really for the skin that I want to do this for, but I like the art book. Let's see if there's anything else to talk about here. Some UI changes, minor UI changes, pretty nice. Oh yeah, and then I think that's the last thing here for some new emojis coming in the game. I think these are great, are cute. I think Smilegate is very now understanding that the emojis are very well loved from the community. The GG on A-Roz there, so toxic, man, so toxic. I mean, I'm assuming these are gonna be animated as well, if they are animated. But the Razlol is one of the most toxic. It's cute, but like one of the most toxic emotes in the game. And then you have him saying GG. So I think Smilegate really knows this. They're kind of playing off the fact that that we use emotes for like talks, like, you know, how we play in World Arena and stuff like that. So cool additions. I like the Charles being added. I definitely want to see them expand more heroes. I think that'd be very good for the game. Anyways, I'm gonna end this session of RBTL here. Again, very excited for episode 4. The new heroes coming, and I think we're gonna have a fun time. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed that. I'll end this here. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.